Allow someone to move it was rather scary.
And then there are those double basses.
It really is such an important thing that you can trust that someone's going to look after your instrument. My bass, for example, is sort of getting on for 200 years old, and you really don't want to be the person over all those years who's responsible for it being smashed or damaged. You sort of feel very responsible for these things.
So in around 2 hours, it's all in place.
Can't see anything missing, so it's looking good.
All intact. Breathe easy, everyone. David Silito, BBC News, the Albert Hall.
Well, Sophie's here in the next few moments with the 1 o'clock news. After weather, Dan Corbett.
We've been holding on to the hats through the first part of the day. Strong winds with that low easing as we work further into the course of the afternoon. You can see where the low has been. The swirl of rain here, gone back a few hours. Notice the centre of the swirl. That's the centre of the low. And the strongest winds have been on the southern side of the low into parts of Wales in particular, where we had wind gusts through the night over 80 miles an hour. Very strong for the time of year. Even to northwest England, we've had wind gusts over 50 miles an hour. Through the rest of the afternoon, there'll still be some showers. The wind at least will start to ease as the centre of the low works further away. Probably moving into parts of Scotland. We'll keep some persistent rain over the north and west of Scotland. This cluster of blue here, some showers, some of them heavy. They'll work into Wales, the Midlands and southwest England. Everywhere else, there'll be some drier, brighter spells. In particular, might even see some of that for a time across eastern parts of England. Shouldn't be too bad, say from Hull down towards Norwich, with mainly dry conditions, just some sunny spells, and even all the way to the far southeast. Go west of London, all the way to Southampton, then you'll see a few of the showers. And the darker blue ones, they could be some of the heavier ones, might even have the odd rumble of thunder as well. Temperature-wise, will be just 16, 17, maybe a 19 or so towards Plymouth. Still keeping a keenish breeze of sorts, but not as strong as it was, say, for the first part of the day. Particularly the case across Wales, showers with some brighter spells. And for Northern Ireland, there might just be 1 or 2 showers, but otherwise here, you'll manage some reasonable dry weather. Western Scotland, that more persistent rain just sort of lingering there, whereas eastern Scotland, drier, brighter spells for a time, but there still could be some showers too, and a bit more of a wind to note as well, particularly, say, for St Andrews, for the Gulf there, and there will be some wet weather, perhaps into the afternoon. Of course, all the coverage on the BBC. As we work through the nighttime hours, still keeping that persistent rain spinning around the back edge of that low across parts of Scotland. Elsewhere, the showers, little blubbles of blue here and there, they'll still continue, but a few of them just lingering towards the southeast by the end of the night. 10, 11, 12 to 13. That's our finishing numbers. And then we're into the weekend, which it's not a washout. There will be the low to ease away slowly. As it does, it'll take its wet weather with it. As towards the south and the east, that clears away too. Then showers bubble up parts of Scotland towards eastern England. Further west you are, you're mainly dry and bright. Some decent bright or sunny spells. 16 to 22 or 23 as we finish off Saturday. Then we work our way towards Sunday. There'll be another weather system working in from the west, so western areas seeing some wet weather from that. I think the further east you are, you're fine, you're dry. That's the weather for now.
Hollywood decided a long time ago that the South treated people like dirt, and so Hollywood treats the South like dirt.
London, another country. A series of programmes on Radio 4 exploring whether London no longer feels part of the UK.
I'm going to follow the tracks of empire. If you understand the railways, you can begin to understand India.
The Yorkshire Ripper is told he will never be freed. 63-year-old Peter Sutcliffe, who was attempting to get parole, went to prison in 1981 for murdering 13 women and attempting to murder 7 others.
There'll always be a risk that that man could cause harm to other people, and not just for that reason, but for justice to be done. I think he just has to remain behind bars.
Guilty 5 companies are fined a total of £9 million for the Buncefield oil explosion. The elderly could have to wait 5 more years for a free bus pass as the government makes more cuts. Hugely popular but hugely problematic, Apple prepares to face the critics of the iPhone 4.
And in sport, Fabio Capello agrees with the FA to appoint a young English coach to his staff. The new candidate is set to work alongside England under-21 boss Stuart Pearce.
Good afternoon and welcome to the BBC News at 1. The Yorkshire Ripper, Peter Sutcliffe, has been told today that he will never be released. Sutcliffe was convicted in 1981 of murdering 13 women and attempting to murder 7 others. He'd applied to have a minimum term set for his sentence, which would have given him the chance for parole. But this morning, a High Court judge said a whole life term was the only appropriate sentence. Here's June Kelly.
Well, Sophie, Peter Sutcliffe will always be one of those infamous names in this country's criminal lexicon, even though he committed his crimes more than a generation ago. The northern streets were his hunting ground. Peter Sutcliffe was the quiet married man who lived a parallel life as the serial killer, the Yorkshire Ripper. The first woman Sutcliffe killed was Wilma McCann, and today her son was in court to hear the Ripper would never be freed.
There'll always be a risk that that man could cause harm to other people, and not just for that reason, but for justice to be done. I think he just has to remain behind bars.
The judge, Mr Justice Mitting, said the brutality and gravity of the offences speak for themselves. This was a campaign of murder which terrorised the population of a large part of Yorkshire for several years. The only explanation was anger, hatred